As we kick this off, let's do this. To the top left-hand side, we have got our pink Zerg player. This, my friends, from Gamer's Origin, is Stephano. And we do have to the bottom right-hand side the teal Terran player from Cascade, Cass. So, that said, I was actually uploading some VODs to YouTube yesterday, or last night, and we have finally got the YouTube content back on track. God, I really got a bit messed up on the YouTube channel. Just a combination of not having stuff to put on initially, and then when I did have stuff, I just got really caught up in not getting it VODed and uploaded, so a little bit of a shame on my end. I mean, obviously some of it is truly my fault, my own fault, but yeah, I mean, that said, we do have uploads back on the YouTube channel scheduled for the next 3, 4, 5 weeks at least, so we are already, like, you know, we've already got the content sorted for you guys. So daily uploads on YouTube, and always do want to just let you guys know that, of course, you can always check out youtube.com/WardiTV to get access to the YouTube VODs. We upload all the best matches that we cast there on the YouTube channel, and it is generally 2 to 3 games a day, so it's a good way for you guys to keep up and to find some extra StarCraft content if we're not online, if your other favorite streamers are offline as well, perhaps. Let's see how this one goes. Is game number 1 of this best of 3. Good luck, have fun, being said by Cass as he opens with this command center first. A little bit different here, but what's so funny is that as Stephano goes pool hatch gas and 6 Zerglings, this is generally a very aggressive opening, which is usually very good at kind of dealing some damage, you know, avoiding a Reaper, and actually really making the Terran's life a bit miserable. However, against the CC first, the command center finishes so quickly that the Lings will not get across the map in time to punish it, and so it's actually even better than usual for the Terran player, because he just, you know, he won't take any damage at all. He can bring his SCVs to the high ground, the CC is already finished, it's not going to be delayed, and so this is really a very strong opening from Cass, where his opener is completely economically focused, where Stephano's is aimed at trying to slow down the Terran player slightly, and it just won't actually do that at all, so small build order advantage here from Cass in the very early stages. Nothing major, nothing game ending, but just one of those little things that's like, oh, well, that's nice, that's cool that that worked out for me. Stephano arrives, he already knew what was up, he had this Overlord here. Reaper pops out, and those SCVs should be able to stay alive if they pull around correctly. And you will get the Reaper on the high ground, just needs to keep those SCVs running, because he doesn't want to lose them, obviously. That would be a little bit of a shame. Looks as though he's definitely going to lose one, as he's just struggling to try and find the correct direction and move them in at all points here. Another SCV pops out as well, so he's going to have to run around this one as well. All these SCVs are running around all over the place. They get a little bit caught up. I think he might have tried to repair his SCVs there with each other, and this didn't quite work out. Well, Stephano at least gets some lost mining time on some of these workers, right? Which is something. That SCV is going to go down. Wow, it's 2 SCVs. That's just a little bit of a mistake from Cass then, honestly. I mean, the micro could have been a lot smoother. I mean, it's not easy to micro it, don't get me wrong, but it could have been a little bit smoother there to keep those SCVs alive, and there's a little bit of a shame that he loses out on them. Just going to answer a question very quickly in the chat. Rainmakers99, is Wardy going to be in the base trade event in Canada? Yes, I am. If you guys are in Canada, near Vancouver, in Richmond, BC, we're going to be having the Base Trade TV Star League Finals on May 18th and 19th. I'll be there, Zombie Grill will be there, Maynard will be there, Riff will be there. It's going to be awesome. And tomorrow we're even going to decide our 2 players from the Korean and Asian bracket who are going to be there as well. It's going to be one of Hero and Stats and one of Lenok and the other player that's still alive. I don't know who the other player still alive is. I completely forgot. I'm blanking. Anyways, we are going to see this Reaper from Cass continuing down towards the bottom right. And we are going to see a couple of Hellions just on the way up. A few Zerglings being made, a couple of Queens. There's the Cloak coming down on the starport, but it's actually a Raven that started up. If he wasn't supply blocked, he gets out of it now. There's a 3rd CC finishes. Stephano's Scout going to give him full information of what's going on. He sees exactly here, okay, triple orbital. You know, see again making Cloak. That's going to force out a Spore Crawler too, which isn't necessarily required against something like a Raven. Although the Spores are still going to have uses later in the game. It's just a shame to have to build them so soon if you don't actually need them just yet. So, getting in towards this, again, it's a nice little mind game. We do see double armory. Is that something that's scoured? No, the Overlord's in the main, and the double armory's on the natural. He's also taking his 3rd and 4th gases. None of this seen by Stephano. But what is seen by Stephano is the lack of barracks coming down the main base. He starts to lose a couple of drones here. It's actually quite a few drones going down already. 4 workers drop. It's actually quite nice vision from Stephano, because even though he doesn't see the kind of the factories, he'll see the, well, he's going to see the factories now. He didn't see the barracks coming down. I think the barracks were already late here, which should have been a telltale sign. And I think Cass realizes it as well, so he's just like, okay, cool, I'm just going to build up the factories in front of your Overlord, because at this point, you probably know what's happening anyways. An auto turret will come down to push this Overlord away. Overlord versus auto turret. Does the auto turret win that fight? And just. This Overlord is very nearly out of range, but auto turret just about picks off then. Obviously, Stephano wasn't expecting to lose that Overlord just yet, because now he's 80 over 74 supply block in his current gameplay. A little bit of a shame. Stephano has been playing very well lately, qualified for Challenger pretty convincingly, lost out to a couple of players along the way, but had some really good series, and he looked really good against Clem, by the way, as well, when he actually did qualify in his qualifying match that he won. He looked very, very good against Clem in a match where he just arrived and he was able to get so much done. And he just shut down mech play, he shut down everything that was thrown his way. As we are going to see some Hellions with the Raven. Clean out some creep spread, always nice. I mean, if you're able to kind of push back the creep spread like this, it's just a very kind of beneficial thing to do, and it doesn't cost you anything. It only slows the Zerg players down, forces more energy to be used from the Queens already. That means less transfusions available when the 4-drop comes in, perhaps, when, you know, maybe Hellbats join up with those 4s. So that's already some nice little something being done here by Cass. Obviously, included kind of getting the Raven, though, so that does slow down the factories, and maybe slows down the 4-drop in itself. So it is a bit of a trade-off, but obviously the Raven can be used later in the game as well. It's not here just to clean up creep. That's just one of the benefits of having a Raven in your build order against a Zerg in the earlier stages of the game. So this works out quite nicely as we're going to be seeing those Hellions. They morph themselves up into Hellbats here. I'm just going to see another couple of mules dropping down on the third base location. Some creepers spreading out around the map. And again, just going to be seeing these roaches now from Stephano. They work their way through these rocks in the center through the debris. And we just see the two medevacs with 4s inside. They head over to the left-hand side here. They are going to be looking to see what they can do next. So by putting them over to the left, they're going to drop on down and get themselves a couple of roach kills already, maybe. And obviously these 4s, the more they get done now, well, the harder it is for Stephano to continue in the game. You know, you start dealing some damage, you pick off some roaches, you force some defenses. All of it kind of adds up in the course of the game. Now, what does Stephano have in the main to defend? Not a lot right away. 4's actually going to go for a couple of shots on Overlords, although they're kind of out of range to continue getting shots onto. He's going to go for the spawning pool. Not so important either. Probably would have been better just to go for the roaches right away again. But good damage so far. Stephano's not really finding a kind of a secure way to shut that down. And Cass just continue to build up, not losing anything so far. And this is exactly how you want a game to go. He lost a couple of Hellions, he's killed some roaches. Resource loss starts to pile up in Cass's favor. And the more that happens, the better position he'll be in for that big mech push. Maybe with 2-2 in the next couple of minutes generally is when he's going to want to go, because Infestation Pit did just finish. And so it's not going to be in a turn, he's not got forever until Hive comes online. And the Hive Tech is really going to be one of the real turning points of mech armies, with Vipers coming out, Blind Clouds available, parasitic bombs to deal with Vikings, Abducts even just to pull tanks and 4s forwards into fights. All of those, all of that becomes so much easier with Vipers, or it becomes possible with Vipers to make dealing with the mech army that much easier. Cass pulling back. I have to say the creep has been very good from Stephano, considering he did get pushed back quite heavily, actually. He pushed back quite heavily. Stephano then recreated the creep, and since then Cass has been a little bit lackluster in terms of cleaning that up. So it's a little bit of a shame. 4th base for him is about again position. Just needs a scan here to clean up the circle or the Raven. Raven comes back into use. Well, a few units already positioned to deal with these roaches. They're just not quite far enough forward as the tanks could do. Have been a little bit sighted to the command center. So Cass will lose a couple of supply depots or refinery. It's actually a nice little something, as we're going to be seeing these roaches are going to be able to fight their way through. Or these 4s are going to be able to fight their way through a few of those roaches. So some damage being done. An anti-armor missile is going to connect, and these roaches are going to take some damage as we again see Hellbats and 4s fighting away here and pushing those roaches away. His burrow play is annoying though, because he's also in the main base and the natural at the same time, so Tunnel and Claws coming in has allowed these roaches to just move forwards like this. Now the Raven's actually creating a lot of defense here against these roaches, but look at how many tanks are going down. Stephano's killing a lot, but boy, by the end of this, he's going to have lost a lot as well, as those last few roaches get killed off here. The medevac saving another siege tank. Stephano lost a lot, and the issue for himself is that he goes into a Great Aspire. By losing these roaches, he has to rebuild more roaches to be able to stay alive in the game. And by rebuilding more roaches, he hasn't had the chance to start Vipers. He hasn't had the chance to start up, you know, obviously Greater Spires on the way, but you'll have even less money to transition into Broodlords with. And yes, he definitely slowed Cass down, but did he slow Cass down enough to justify this here? It's a difficult question. We see roaches to the left-hand side again. This Planetary Fortress, if you can keep this alive, would be amazing. Almost essential as well. I mean, losing the 4th base is always going to be rough, as we see the couple of Hellbats dropping on top of Ravagers. This base is getting so low. It will go down, but now I wonder if Stephano really did overdo it in terms of throwing away units. He's 60 army supply. He's half the army supply of Cass. And as Cass comes back across the map now, I actually think he just straight up wins this game. What can Stephano do to hold this off at the moment? I mean, the Greater Spire isn't ready. He's making Mutalisks, but there's 4s out. Only a couple, yes. But this number of Mutas is going to take an absolute eternity to clean up this mech army anyways. I'm actually not sure if that alone is going to be able to get the job done. So pushing forwards here now, let's see if Stephano can make something happen. He gives up this base right away. He knows he needs time. He's getting 15 Mutas in the production tab. Cass is actually adding on a turret or 2. He's adding on another 4 or so. Even if this mech army gets cleaned up, as long as Cass does well enough with it over here, he's going to have time to rebuild at home and to deal with those Mutas. And at that stage, there really isn't an answer that's going to be coming in from Stephano. We're just going to be seeing these units continue pushing towards the natural. I mean, the Mutas are starting to pop out right now. I mean, they have to fight the army. There's no way in which you take this fight, which is just like, yeah, you know, let's go. As we're going to see the 4s starting to fight. They're actually in the non-kind of splash damage mode, which is a shame. Anti-armor missile will help a little bit. So the 4s will get cleaned up here, but again, he's killed off the natural expansion. Pushing forwards, I mean, he's still killing off so much over here. And that's the issue, right? He's just going to Cass, split his units up, kill off the last couple of bases, and then over time, Stephano is really not going to have a great one. As we're going to be seeing these drones are stuck in a corner. They don't really have anywhere to run to. They can just about sneak out to the right-hand side. Yeah, Mutas are cleaning this up slowly but surely. The army supply is coming down from Cass, but the army supply from Stephano isn't really much to brag about. And as Cass cleaned up all but the main... I mean, there's a couple bases on the map, and there is only 28 SCVs from Cass. He lost a lot to counter-attacking Zerglings, Roaches around the map here. He lost a lot. As we're going to be seeing him pulling back home to clean up with this at the moment. His army supply is still there. Stephano's made this very close. The Muta count is obviously terrifying, and these 4s are going to be absolutely essential in defending. He might even have to sit the 4s just next to a missile turret or 2 for the near future. Okay, he has 2 more. A couple of extra 4s does go a long way at the moment. Base coming in top right side. Cass sees this. Left-hand side base is one which I don't think he has seen, and which is one, maybe the most important one at the moment. Mutas come in. Missile turret will not come up on this side. As we are going to see that Planetary Fortress continue to be worked away against, and you're going to see the couple of 4s going to drop on in. And the Mutas just get massacred as they try and fight this, and just 3 4s is way too much. Wow, with +2 attack, obviously, and there's no upgrades on those Mutalisks, the Mutas just melt. And that just means that as soon as Cass gets the next attack going for himself, now the army supply of Stephano is absolutely useless when it comes to engaging, because it's just going to melt to 4s. If he melts to 4s, then he has to use the Mutas for counter-attack, but in terms of his base trade, I think Cass has the better kind of setup, really. I mean, there's barely anything on the map still from Stephano. He does have a good amount of bases. I'll give him credit where credit's due. The bases are definitely one thing that goes Stephano's way, spread out. I like the way that Cass is dealing with this at the moment, just spreading out his base, you know, getting his economy back up and running, getting a couple of missile turrets going as well, rebuilding his SCVs. Cass really does have game number 1 under control here in this best of 3 in the round of 8 of the GO4SC2. Well, we are just going to be seeing these Ravagers and Roaches continue to come on out, and we do see another 4 on the way through into the main base. The Mutas do dive, and again, this is what the Mutas are going to be very good at, buying a lot of time. But as soon as the 4s drop down and get another couple of shots off, those Mutas will continue to disappear, and that's where the Mutas are not going to have a good time. That's another Mutalist lost, and Stephano doesn't really have an income to just rebuild Mutas again and again and again here. He really can't afford that at all. So Stephano's in a bit of a tough spot, and again, I mean, it was a nice attempt from, you know, falling behind and maybe overcommitting a lot with these Roaches, but at this stage, there's just not really an answer. Obviously, the Roaches, as they start to come out, may try and counterattack as well from Stephano. I can't imagine he's going to try and play a game where he's just going to try and take a straight-up fight. I think him, you know, knowing Stephano, he'll know that he has to base trade here. He knows that he has to run around and dodge and jive and, you know, juke around. As we are going to be seeing a few more units getting set up. I mean, Cass just pushes top right. He knew about this base, but this wasn't actually the mining base. The mining base is off over to the left-hand side as we see a few Hellions running up here. Don't find any drones. So Cass is just missing the one base that really was the important one so far, but now this army is unstoppable, right? There's even a couple of fours at home, so a counterattack isn't going to get much done. Tanks as well. This is the base which he wants to defend, right? Cass is like, as long as I keep this base up, I'm fine. With turrets of 4 and some siege tanks, he's never going to lose this. Tanks siege up, the roaches start to come on forwards. The fours just get rid of the mutas already in the sky, and Stephano just does not have a way to really engage this. This base goes down. Stephano will try and kind of, stick it out. He'll try and stay alive in this, but it's not happening right now. Tanks unsieging, as we are going to see Cass continue to move on over to the left-hand side. A few Hellions getting caught, but slowly Cass just keeps pushing in this direction. He'll clean out the main base. Eventually he'll realize there's a base over here as well, a base he still hasn't seen in this game. But eventually it's going to be the only place he hasn't checked, right? Roaches do burrow under the army. That's a good fight for Stephano. Is this a turning point maybe? Is this a way for Stephano back into the game? Fours are going to maybe have to just lift up here and get out of there. Medevac got Corrosive Bile down. It's a good fight from Stephano. The Roach Burrow giving him the kind of edge to kind of just suddenly go, oh my god, the Corrosive Biles have just killed 4 fours. What on earth? Stephano has just taken down all of the fours and Medevacs. If there ever was a turning moment in this game, it was right then. Oh my god. Wow. I mean, that is straight up 30 supply disappears from Cass. 4 drops are expensive, and he just lost all of them. I still don't know if Stephano has a way to win this game, but that was something he needed if he is going to somehow win this at some point. Cass spots those burrowed roaches, takes them down without issue. He still has the fours here to deal with Mutalisks if they come back up. He's got the tank count to deal with roaches. He doesn't have the medevacs to evacuate fours at a moment's notice now, and here it goes Stephano. He's going to go for the fight, it seems. He's just going to try and make this happen. He's going to go with what he can. Does he want to go just now, though? He is going to deal with the Hellbats kind of on their own. The tanks are very far set back, not really taking part in this fight. Cass is going to be losing a couple of his fours here. Another couple of Hellbats going down as well. Tanks will unsiege, and Stephano will just GG out. The roaches at the back got dealt with. Cass will take VZ. We'll give you guys updates when we have them as to who's moving on through. And as we do jump into game number 2, Cass versus Stephano. And down a game to the bottom right-hand side is the pink Zerg player from Gamer's Origin. This is Stephano. Excuse me, I got a bit of a cough in me. And to the top left-hand side from Cascade, this is Cass. Alrighty, guys. So, kicking off into game number 2. Having a little bit of a look to see just what these guys are going to be bringing us here. Looking to see just what they can come up with in the next few moments, as we do see Refinery being mined from Rax and Gas this time around. Not a CC first. Neon Violet Square. Very large map, by the way, and definitely the sort of map that can go very split heavy. Can be 5-6 bases very easily taken by the Terran through the top side of the map in this case, and set up in towards kind of that Ghost Liberator scenario that can be so very powerful. Obviously, if you play mech, I mean, it's also very powerful too. So, we are just going to be seeing this Overlord heading towards the upper left-hand side to see what's going to happen. And as we do just see the hatchery, the gas, and the pool from Stephano on the way up. Not really much going on just yet here on the bottom right-hand side. So he's just setting up. He's just getting ready to go. When we do see that command center on the natural expansion from Cass coming through. Everything as we expect it to be. Let's watch this SCV coming across. Just wants to see if it is hatch first or not. Now that he does go for a Reaper-based opening, it's important to know if it's pool or hatchery first, because you'd want to keep the Reaper at home, or at least hunting for Zerglings if it's pool first. If it's hatch first, you can go across the map for that Reaper and maybe get a little bit of something done. You will see hatchery first. Doesn't bother going into the main base because there's nothing to see going into the main base here. So he just backs away with the SCV, happy with what he's seen so far. And now it'll be the Reaper's turn to get the scout information and to just do that little bit of a dance and to, deal with some little bits of damage and some bits and pieces. As that Reaper comes down towards the bottom right-hand side and gets ready to have a little bit of an attack. Gets ready to party. A couple of things already taking a couple of shots here, and you're going to see the Reaper picks off one Zergling, the second Zergling going to just pull away there for a moment. Third hatchery coming down from Stephano as well on the right-hand side, so Just dropping this into position as we see the starport in the main. I mean, Cass again continuing on kind of as expected for now. I mean, the double Hellion, the barracks, the starport, everything what we expect this to be from Cass in terms of just setting up into 2 bases, moving towards a 3rd command center potentially very soon. And just again, continuing onwards with our 2nd game of this best of 3 quarterfinal matchup. Again, Stephano or Cass, the winner of this series, plays Showtime in the semis. Before the winner of that will then go on to play either Guru or Geralt. This south side, the bottom side of the bracket, which is what we're following right now, is just absolutely stacked. It also had Namshaw in this section of the bracket. It had Mana in this section of the bracket. This section of the bracket has just been insane today. I'm very excited to see what happens as we continue on. And we've been able to see a little bit more as you do see this Reaper moving around. And that 3rd hatchery on the right side does just finish up. A few Zerglings coming forwards and a grenade will not quite connect just yet. As we see that Reaper is still in a little bit of trouble. Will just go down here at the very end. So Reaper falls and a Viking has just popped out from Cass in the main base. So Reaper Viking pops out from Cass and starts to target down this Overlord. Stephano taking some shots right now and will be shot down here in the next couple of moments. Stephano trying to scout, trying to figure out, you know, again, is this mech, is this bio? No real telltale sign of it just yet. It's a bit too early. 3rd CC coming down in location. Cass with the confidence here at the moment. As we are going to be seeing the barracks. Let's move off to the side. Now, reactor for the starport means double Liberator, so a lot of Liberator harassment coming through. There's some cool things you can do with double Liberator. Now, obviously, the obvious thing is to kind of split them up and to go to 2 different mineral lines at the same time. But double Liberator can actually cover so much more space if you have 2 in 1 position that you can actually stop Queens from being used. It kind of forces a Spore Crawler defense. Let's see exactly how Cass uses them, see if he splits them up or not. It does generally suggest he's going to be playing mech though, as we see 2 more refineries coming down, and there are the factories as well. Just because, I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, this just slows down the stim pack so much that transition into bio from here would really, truly be somewhat difficult. Starport moves off to a tech lab. Obviously wants to start getting set up for these factories so that the factories can jump onto tech labs ASAP and start building up into 4s. Then you can jump back onto that reactor and go into another couple of medevacs and go for the 4 drops as we saw in game number 1. Those few Zerglings from Stephano, fortunately, just getting the chance to see those couple of Liberators coming down to the south side. So that's a little bit of a nice little scout. I mean, a fortunate scout as well, right? You know, he doesn't really have those lings there for any real reason. And there we go, the couple of libs siege up. Well, double libs for the Queens. Only one of them in range, actually, initially, though, and that's a bit of a shame. One of them will get some drone kills. I don't think this is exactly how Cass imagined this going. I thought it would go a lot better, too, if I'm going to be honest. He gets 5 or 6 drones. The Queens clean up. I mean, Stephano just pulled all of his Queens in so quickly. And the libs were very exposed as well. You know, this first lib here was able to be attacked by all 5 Queens without being in range of the second Liberator. So the second Liberator didn't do much in terms of Queen damage, which could maybe usually push the Queens back. If he was a bit more careful about it and sieges up here and here, so the Queens really have to dive in to deal damage, I think there's much more potential there for Cass to then get something done. Well, there's those 4s on the way out, as we mentioned. Starport builds yet another reactor. I guess because he doesn't need the medevacs so soon, so he may as well build the reactor now, then build the medevacs. Just because now they are going to line up with 4s. The 4s have a long build time, the medevacs much shorter. Then you can use this reactor to just build a factory straight onto later. Second factory as well. It's just basically you don't need to have the starport in this reactor already. So if you build another one, then it's already there. It's already ready to be used later. You know, you have an extra reactor and you don't have to go through that. So your extra Hellbat production can just start up so much sooner when you need it to. Now, Stephano here is on 56 workers, dropping a little bit as he starts up a couple of extractors. A lot of roaches and roach speed with Carapace upgrade. Looking as though he might even be trying to get aggressive in Cass with this low ground expansion. He's not going to have a good time. The first 4s are coming down now to start defending, but they're going to have to do a lot of damage here to be able to defend against this. I mean, already the first roach shots coming down, those 4s are being pushed away. They go to the high ground, but now this natural expansion's in some trouble. And Stephano in this game number 2 is just going to end this before Cass can even get going in the game, apparently. Or is he? I mean, obviously that's the intention, but will he be able to? Using this defense on the ramp right now, I think Stephano's already done enough, honestly. I mean, one of the 4's already going down too. These tanks aren't even kind of feeling as though they can siege up in time, and now they continue to drop, and, well, now all of a sudden you're on top of the production, and that's going to be GG. Stephano, that sort of thing. But our GO4SC2 admins have asked us to encourage clipping of the GO4SC2 so that they can use it in, you know, to promote the tournament, to put it on Twitter and stuff like that. I mean, you can't really blame them when stuff like that happens. It's pretty sick, that last little moment or two as we kick off into game number 3. To the top right hand side, it is from Gamer's Origin, the French Zerg player Stephano. And to the bottom left hand side of the map, it's going to be the Red Terran player from Cascade. This is Cass. How's everybody doing out in the chat? Let me know what's up, let me know what's going on, let me know if you're cheering on Stephano or Cass in this series. Always interested to see who's tuning in. I always love it when we cast kind of through the daytime in the EU, because I feel like we get players, viewers tuning in from around the world. So let me know where you guys are watching from here today as well. You out here in Europe, are you watching over in NA somewhere? Let me know what's up, let me know what's going on with you guys. This Sunday stream with GO4SC2 is always about kind of buddying up, being friends, and just having a good end to the weekend. And I always feel as though it's a good chance to have some fun with you guys and to watch some StarCraft, chill out, get to know some of you better, and all the rest of it. So nice chill way to end the week. We don't go too hard on selling out or anything usually, and yeah, it's just a fun end to the week. I might stream again later. We actually had a really good non-StarCraft stream last night. I know obviously not everyone is interested in non-SC2 streams, but last night we had a good little time. Honestly, we had a successful little stream. We had like 50 to 100 viewers for the entire stream of Fortnite and then event planning. So it was kind of cool to see, you know, something that was kind of just a little bit neat. So honestly, probably gonna I don't know. I'm a little bit motivated to stream a bit more kind of non-StarCraft content, just because, you know, I'm playing games. Sometimes sometimes it's fun just to put the stream on. You guys can hang out for a bit, maybe we play some viewer games and stuff now and then, that sort of thing. Anyways, for the moment, we are going to be seeing these few Zerglings from Stephano pulling down the left-hand side. It was once again this pool first play. You can tell because the Queen has started before the second hatchery is finished. So pool first, and Cass, realizing this, is looking for the Lings, and he does find the first few. But then there's some more diving into the natural, and he isn't quite in position, so they have snuck by. And those Lings are going to kill an SCV, but they won't be able to get the CC kill or anything crazy like that. A second SCV he has to keep running around. That was the scouting SCV that's now coming back home. Reaper will be able to clean up these Lings eventually. Oh my god, he's getting so low with that Reaper. And a little bit scary here, honestly. I think that SCV goes down, actually. It has to be very careful with the direction it goes in. And Cass just took a little bit of a struggle to actually deal with these Zerglings as easily as he should be when the Reaper is staying at home, when the Reaper isn't out on the map, and all the rest of it. So Reaper gets another couple of Zergling kills there, and now does move on forwards as we see a couple more Hellions on the way up. The starports coming through the command center on the natural expansion. Just another tech lab coming up on this barracks as well. So continuing to set up into all of this right now. And Stephano continues to move himself towards the upper right-hand side of the map with this Overlord. Just pulling back. I mean, this Overlord's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I kind of feel as though maybe it was rallied with the Zerglings, and it wasn't really meant to be coming out because it really is out in the middle of just such an open area. It's going to be scary for it if he isn't careful. Chillin' Jedi, tuning in from Denmark. Well, we had Denmark as the best the other day, being the god of the stream with all the sub-gifts, donations, and all the rest of it. Denmark's pretty cool country in my eyes at the moment from that, but cool to see, cool to see. I imagine a lot of people as well a very kind of quiet chat today because WCS Challenger just started, so I imagine a lot of people are watching WCS Challenge and maybe are kind enough to keep us open on a second screen, which is always cool. It's always that's always nice when you guys keep the stream open even if you're watching something else at the same time. Nice Reaper grenade, hits every single Zergling. Unfortunately, it won't be good enough to save this Reaper. I mean, Lings with speed are going to be way too good, way too fast. Let's cast. Well, his first Banshee is about to pop here. Different opener from him in the last games. He's keeping things fresh while continuing to play mech. So just different openers into the same sort of mid-game setup for himself. You know, both games so far, he has indeed set himself to this position where he does start to, you know, get in towards the kind of the double 4-drop. He starts to move around the map with that. He starts to get some damage done. There's just been different ways to get there. Now, an armory coming down, so this looks like you'll be held by Banshee. Much more aggressive from Cass than what we've seen up until now. I mean, so far, Cass has been very passive, with the Hellions, etc. Maybe a dive in, maybe kill some creep tumors, a couple of Liberators harass. But this is a much more sort of focused attack with the Hellbats and the Banshee here. So, let's see what he can do. The first Queens now have an Overseer with them, so the Banshee has to back away. Can't really take this fight. The Hellions dive forwards. We'll morph into Hellbats here in a moment or so, or do they? Maybe Cass feels like he can't actually get much done with Roaches popping out, so he just backs off instead. Looks though he's just going to back off instead. So far the armory is not being utilized. Second Banshee coming around. Ling run by fully blocked off already. That wall is raised, and so no entry here. We'll try and get some damage done, but the two Hellions are doing enough to kind of, deter those Lings from continuing to attack and looking for the command center cancel, which of course is just a pain in the ass. I mean, you lose yourself the third base, and that's just something that's going to slow you down for the entirety of the game. So it's something you really don't want to have happen. Is Hellions are hunting those Zerglings. They know they're on the map somewhere, and they are looking to try and find a few of those Lings, looking to try and clean them out as they loop around the top side. And we are going to be seeing a lot of those roaches coming through the center of the map here from Stephano. So he is going to get aggressive again, very similar to the last game, but this time the Banshees from Cass make this a very different scenario, because he actually has Banshees to slow down roaches reinforcing, and just cleaning up the roaches means that there's a lot less to actually attack with here. As we are going to be seeing the roaches moving through, and we are going to see the depot. Doesn't raise just yet, so Stephano gets on this. I mean, the first boards are on the way, but they're so far from actually finishing. The Banshees are absolutely essential in this defense, and they were in the middle of the map. And while they were shutting down a reinforcement here and there, they weren't attacking all of the time, and that's definitely going to be one of the bigger issues, because if they were over here, they would have had continued damage output, whereas now, they really haven't had that. And so the roaches in the main base are going to be, they'll struggle to be dealt with as SCVs pull on through the roaches to just try and run away. Cass is in a world of pain right now. I mean, he's about to get a 4 out. He's going to get some, damage done with that, but even if he cleans this up at the moment, the roaches have done so much already. And Stephano's put himself in a great spot. He's slowing Cass down massively, and as he breaks through the front, he's just looking for some more SCVs kills. A lone Cyclone pops out, actually. That 4 is still trying to find damage. He's actually hitting an Overlord, though, and the non-anti-air mode that he should be in to kill off Overlords means it's really kind of wasted damage output time. And Stephano is just going to march on through to get himself a date with Showtime in the semi-finals here today. GG from Cass. A strong opening game, but mistakes were made in games number 2 and 3. Dying to very aggressive attacks just wasn't kind of solid and stable as he should have been. And just